There's no way on earth that he's going to fight me. Not a chance. I will retire John Jones without even fighting him.
John Jones called us last night and retired. John Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
I'm saying he should think about it. Give the man all the time he wants. He can fight whenever he wants to fight. That's John Jones. He's the GOAT. So leave him alone. If he decides one day to come back, and he comes back and he wants to fight Tom Aspinall.
In interviews on his show and other media appearances, Joe Rogan criticized John Jones after he announced his retirement a few hours earlier. He said that while he respected Jones' right to leave the sport, it was still a sad way. To avoid facing the top rival, Rogan was annoyed by how late Jones' choice came. But he also said he was glad. Now Tom Aspinall has the understanding and praise he deserves. Rogan had previously shown respect for Jones' past, but he did not change his mind about the fact that champions had to defend or give up their titles. In a timely way now that Dana White has made Jones' retirement public, Rogan thinks the sport can move forward and that Aspinall will eventually be the undisputed heavyweight champion. But where does this leave things?
For them to come out and do a press release and say that John Jones is retiring, that's enough, okay? But do you guys think that John Jones is really actually done with fighting and being a combatant? Or is he trying to do similar to what Floyd?
Dana White made it official during the UFC Baku post-fight press conference, telling media that John Jones had phoned the UFC and told them that he was retiring. John Jones is no longer working. The heavyweight title goes to Tom Aspinall. White's statement put an end to months of doubt about whether Jones would ever return to the cage to face Aspinall, who had been holding the interim title while waiting for a unification fight. White said that Jones' message was clear. The former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion had just decided to stop fighting, so the UFC had no choice but to recognize Aspinall as the official winner going forward.
Timeline for Jones, 2 weeks to decide what to do with the title, but whether it takes the fight or you're going to strip him. What do you think is more important, to keep the belt there so he can uphold his legacy, or we move the heavyweight division, take the title away from him?
John Jones called us last night and retired. John Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
The first thing Joe Rogan felt was a mix of sadness and understanding. Rogan has said on past episodes of his podcast that Jones should quit fighting Tom Aspinall and take a break. He added he wouldn't be surprised if Jones departed the sport on his own terms, given what he'd previously achieved. However, now that his retirement is real, Rogan has made it known that he was dissatisfied with how things turned out. He claimed that retiring when winning a division is unfair to the other fighters and the sport itself. Nonetheless, he agreed that if Aspinall is now formally champion, the title is no longer under threat of ambiguity.
John Jones still at the top of the fight game. There's been some talk that he's not wanting to fight Tom Aspinall right now. Your thoughts on that? Do you think he's negotiating, delaying? Thoughts on that?
Well, I kind of felt like he was negotiating. John Jones told me personally after his last fight that he wanted to retire. Father Time is undefeated. I fought John Jones when I was on my way out, and he was a young kid. And so I think it's unfair what he's doing, but I didn't have a legacy like his.
Rogan also addressed a fake claim that Jones wanted $30 million to confront Aspinall. Rogan had repeated the amount on his broadcast, but later claimed that UFC President Dana White personally contacted him and informed him that the figure was wrong. Rogan admitted he was mistaken and retracted the remark, but the fact that such an amount was mentioned at all showed how difficult Jones' discussions with the UFC had been. For Rogan, this just reinforced to the suspicion that Jones had no real intention of facing Aspinall and was looking for a way out of the fight all along.
The fight with John Jones and Tom Aspinall will never happen. He's going to ride this wave as long as he can. He might even sign the contract to take the fight, but the fight will not happen, bro. It just won't. We got to get over it. We got to just move on. And I feel bad for Tom Aspinall because he's going to have to wait forever to get that title.
Several professional fighters have now reacted to Dana White's statement, with the majority expressing astonishment and irritation, with some accusing Jones of avoiding the battle. Others have simply paid tribute to his career, recognizing his services to the sport. There is no question that John Jones has one of the most impressive resumes in MMA history. His career began with a quick climb through the light heavyweight divisions, culminating in a dominant victory against Mauricio Shogun Rua in March 2011, when he won the belt in the third round. TKO Jones then defended his title 8 times in a row, beating a slew of top-tier fighters, including Quinton Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, and Alexander Gustafsson.
Praying that I would, because there is nowhere that you can find publicly, nowhere, him saying that he will fight me. It doesn't exist. I challenge anybody watching this interview to go and find a statement, a quote, a video where Jon Jones is saying that he'll fight me after he's fought Stipe. It doesn't exist. The guy's smart. Since I won that fight, he's gone completely quiet, and he'll continue to go completely quiet about me until he retires, because there's no way on earth that he's going to fight me. Not a chance. I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting.
His first title reign ended not in the cage, but because of a positive test which led in the belt being taken. Jones later returned and won the light heavyweight title, which he defended 3 times before freely vacating to move up to heavyweight. When he finally made his heavyweight debut in March 2023, he beat Cyril Gane in the opening round, becoming A2 Division UFC champion. That victory was expected to pave the way for a super fight against Stipe Miocic, but Jones' injury wrecked that plan. Jones decided to quit rather than face interim champion Tom Aspinall upon his recovery.
Before he retired.
I agree.
I think John would have beat him.
So why do you think it didn't happen? Because Ariel did say the deal went through. The money he wanted.
Nigga probably scared. You know what I'm saying? The deal went through. How much money was it though?
He probably got the fuck you money that he said. He probably got that.
How did I take that?
I would have
took it too.
I would have took that fight.
He could have retired off that, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think's gonna happen? That's it? He's never fighting again. It can't be the end though.
I think he's gonna come back.
It's probably like a negotiation ploy.
During interviews, his refusal to fight Aspinall sparked growing tensions in the MMA community. Jones seemed clearly irritated anytime the Aspinall fight came up. In one recent incident, he stormed off a podcast just after being asked about the impending fight, stating, "See you later," and cutting the conversation short. That moment went viral online, fueling rumors that Jones was not interested in defending his belt against the younger British boxer. Meanwhile, the UFC was left in suspense, unsure whether Jones would return to face Aspinall or retire forever.
Jon Jones officially retired. My thing is, bro, I'm not upset about the fact that he retired, but why did he wait so long? Like, if you weren't gonna fight Tom Aspinall, you should have just retired after the Stipe Miocic fight. Like, what was the point of all of this shit, man? Like, he wasted the fans' time, he wasted the UFC's time, he wasted Tom Aspinall's time. And don't get me wrong, Jon Jones is still the GOAT, his resume speaks for itself, but my thing is, man, he just left a sour taste to the fans. Like, the fact that you retired like this, it's gonna make you look bad forever. Because
Dana White had earlier attempted to moderate expectations, openly stating that if Jones did not want to fight, they would move on. He highlighted that the UFC could not wait indefinitely and that the division needed progress. Tom Aspinall stated that he was bored of the waiting game. He claimed that he was ready to fight anyone and simply wanted clarity. That clarity has now come. Following the revelation of Jones' retirement, Aspinall issued a public statement saying that he is proud to be the unquestioned champion and is ready to begin building his own history. The Brit has also stated a desire to defend the title as soon as possible, implying that the UFC would soon name his next opponent.
Knight said, "Hey, I'm done." And Tom Aspinall is now the official UFC heavyweight champion. Dana has said no number 1 contenders to be had yet. They're going to try to figure that out this week. So it looks like Tom Aspinall will be fighting soon. Hopefully.
Dana White has stated that he plans to meet with Aspinall during International Fight Week in Las Vegas to discuss what comes next for the division. It is likely that the UFC will attempt to set up Aspinall's championship defense against one of the other top contenders, possibly Cyril Gane or Sergey Pavlovich. In the interim, Jon Jones' legacy will be contested across channels. Some supporters would claim that he walked away to safeguard his name and avoid a hazardous battle, while others will argue that he had nothing left to show and deserved to retire on his own terms. What is clear is that Jon Jones' reign as UFC champion is gone, at least for now.
He called Dana White last night, and he is retired. No more talk about Jon Jones and speculation. Tom Aspinall is the world champion for heavyweight. Best of luck in your life, Jon Jones. You've given us a great show over the years, and we wish you all the luck in the world. Take care.
This is a pleasant move for both fans and Aspinall, who has been out of action for nearly a year while awaiting word on Jones's future. Last November, Aspinall knocked off Sergey Pavlovich in the first round at Madison Square Garden, claiming the temporary title. That win came on short notice and was meant to set up a unification bout with Jones as soon as the latter recovered from his injury, but the fight never materialized. Instead, Jones was unclear about his return date while Aspinall sat on the sidelines, with White confirming Jones' retirement at the Baku post-fight news conference. The UFC has officially raised Aspinall to undisputed status, allowing the division to continue forward. He is currently the sole heavyweight champion in the UFC, with a long list of challengers vying for his title.
I have never seen a fight that we've wanted that we've then been denied. No different than the girl at school that you're chasing and she's telling you no. Lose steam. This fight is a smaller fight now than it was 3 months ago. Aspinall versus Jones, which, by the way, I don't maintain for that it could be resurrected one press conference or one Instagram live by Dana. I'm just sharing for you right now. Jones and Aspinall was not only hotter 3 months ago, it was hotter than that 5 months ago, and it is coming to an almost crawl.
Following the news, Aspinall took to Instagram to promise followers that he would be an active champion, not one who sat out or avoided opponents. He shared a picture of himself holding the newly acknowledged undisputed title, writing simply, "For you fans, it's time to get this heavyweight division going with an active undisputed champion." The message was simple but impactful, reinforcing what many fans already knew about Aspinall. He enjoys activity, competition, and clarity in sports. Commenters responded positively, with one fan joking that he had retired the GOAT, referring to Jon Jones' departure without ever facing the interim champion. Some saw it as a symbolic victory, despite the fact that the two never fought in the octagon.
That's the hard thing about giving opinions on this, because it's just opinions. Like, we don't know the facts of what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's been said from John's side or Aspinall's side, and you know, I do give to Aspinall the benefit of the doubt, believing that, you know, if he didn't think the Jon Jones fight was going to happen, like, he probably would have taken another fight. You know, where we're comparing it with the Chandler situation. You know, it felt to me, you know, I was a little more adamant about that because it felt to me.
Aspinall can now focus on what comes next, and all signs point to a return in the near future. Rumors have circulated that he might fight again as early as July, with a UFC card set for Manchester. Dana White has previously announced that the promotion intends to return to the UK with a big pay-per-view event, and having Aspinall headline that card in his home country makes perfect sense. The undefeated interim champion in the heavyweight division, now the real title holder, fighting on home turf will definitely pique the interest of UK spectators.
Of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion, and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much of a gamble.
Aspinall to me.
When asked who he would fight next, Aspinall revealed that he would want a rematch with Curtis Blades, the only man to defeat him in the UFC. Their previous match finished with Aspinall injuring his leg early in the first round, a bizarre incident that many felt deprived fans of a fair fight.
Obviously, it now leaves Jon with either fighting you or retiring.
Yeah, that's off the table now. The Alex Pereira fight at heavyweight or any other weight, really. I mean, I guess you could still fight him at light heavy, I guess, but it won't be for a title. Yeah, Jon, there's only one thing to do, mate. Sign the contract and let's get a date going. And I know we seen last night Dana White was talking.
Listen, Jon Jones definitely wants to fight. Just when and where is what we're working on now.
So we're waiting for that.
Aspinall has frequently stated that he has no personal vendetta against Blades, even calling him a good guy. But it is evident that the competition in him wants the chance to clear the air. Avenging his only loss in the UFC would be a major milestone, and both he and fans are looking forward to the battle.
From a marketing standpoint, from a landscape of where the UFC is standpoint, that would be a complete pay-per-view disaster.
We'd see the strength of the UFC brand at Madison Square Garden if that ends up being, because all respect to Tom, but he has never headlined a pay-per-view, so plopping him at the top of Madison Square Garden against Cyril Gane I think would be tough, but we'll see what they can do.
Cyril Gane was another name that came up in talks. especially after Ariel Helwani asked Aspinall about it during an interview, but Aspinall was unsure that the fight would happen. He said Gane had dismissed him several times, implying that Gane had made a habit of avoiding high-risk opponents. According to Aspinall, he only got the Pavlovich fight after Gane refused. The idea was that Gane avoids hazardous matchups, which bothered Gane.
Imposing an international fight week deadline. Right here and now, I'm imposing this deadline. And by the way, they announced that they're going to do a press conference tour for Canelo Crawford, and one of the stops is June 27th, the day before Ilya versus Charles, International Fight Week, 317. I'm imposing an International Fight Week deadline. An announcement must be made. A decision must be made. That's when the eyes of the MMA world.
Gane quickly responded on social media, denying that he had avoided any opponents. He explained that he had never refused a fight and stated that the UFC introduced Pavlovich as the opponent, which he accepted without hesitation. "I never ever say no to any challenge or opponent," Gane stated in a letter. "Blades was never a possibility. They offered Pavlovich. I replied yes, and don't worry, I'll see you in September. Stop tripping." His remark was clearly meant to counter Aspinall's inference and leave the door open for a possible clash later this year.
Now he's looking down at a young man, and it's like, he's not scared. Make no mistake about it. But I think it's enough to like question it. And you know what I think a big worry might be for him? Because with Aspinall, he could potentially get knocked out. Like legitimately knocked out and put on his back and out cold. And I just don't know that he wants to have that visual of him in the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
However, September is doubtful for Aspinall, who has stated his desire to fight sooner. If he returns in July as planned and successfully defends his belt, it remains to be seen whether a bout with Jones or possibly Stipe Miocic may follow. Miocic had been linked to a fight with Jones for more than a year, but the battle never materialized due to Jones' injury and now apparent retirement. If Miocic is willing to fight again, Aspinall would most likely welcome the chance. But with the new champion determined to stay active, it appears unlikely that he will wait for anyone.
John Jones is retired, but if he never steps into the cage with you and you two never fight, what do you think that does for his legacy, but also for your legacy? Is it possible for you to be the best and be the greatest without beating him?
That's someone else's opinion, to be honest. It doesn't really matter to me.
That sort of stuff doesn't bother
No,
you, as long as you're fighting the people that are put in front of you.
I can only control what I think.
The controversy over John Jones' stance had been developing for months. Fans were wondering for a long time whether he would return to defend his title or retire without a unification battle. Despite several public declarations indicating his desire to fight again, Jones never committed to a date and occasionally showed an interest in a fantasy matchup with Alex Pereira. That bout would have forced Pereira to step up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, which the UFC had not really considered as the crisis stretched on. Many fans and commentators asked that Jones be stripped of the title. Dana White finally put an end to the speculation at UFC Baku, announcing Jones' formal retirement.
After this Nelk interview, this has to be a joke. Surely Dana is going to have to strip John Jones, because this can't keep happening. Like, you're the heavyweight champion, it's your job to defend the belt. And if you don't want to defend it, then retire. It's so strange to me. It's strange how the UFC keeps defending him. He's still the heavyweight champion, but won't fight. And what is he expecting by going on all of these media tours when people bring up the question of Tom Aspinall? Like, he's on a media tour.
The announcement has immediate consequences. Alexander Volkanovski, the reigning featherweight champion, was among the boxers who had earlier spoken out on the subject. Volkanovski stated unequivocally that champions must protect their championships on time. On the Overdogs podcast, he stated that, while he admired Jones' achievements, it was unfair to the division to put everyone in uncertainty. He cited the appearance of an interim champion as proof that unification should take precedence.
And the fans shouldn't even have to make a petition to strip John Jones of the belt. That just shows you how dumb the UFC matchmaking is, especially when it comes to John Jones and all the way that the UFC operates around John Jones. The way that John Jones has Dana and the organization by the nuts is crazy.
He stated, if you're the champion, you protect your belt. It's a responsibility. You cannot simply sit out. You must be fairly active. You have to fight whoever is there. If you have an interim winner, it is a no-brainer. Volkanovski went on to say that no one should be spared from activities because of their image. Everyone is saying, look what he's done. It's fine. No, not really. Don't hold up the section just because I know you have an amazing resume. We understand that you are generally regarded as the best of all time. So, if you don't want to fight, simply quit, you're over. Or if you want big fights, you'll have to give up the crown.
What do you make of like Tom Aspinall and all the things that he's been saying about you?
I think he's awesome, man.
Hello, John. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you.
I think he should go on and have a wonderful career. He's not in a position to like excite me, because if I whoop his ass, it's gonna be the next guy. There's gonna be a whole new fan base of somebody who everybody believes in. I've done this my whole adult.
With Jones officially out of the game, Aspinall's status is no longer in doubt. He possesses the unquestioned title, has a full camp ahead of him, and is expected to defend it soon. His breakthrough comes at a time when the heavyweight class needs a fresh start. The Jones scenario may have slowed the changeover, but Aspinall's steadiness, honesty, and openness to supporters has won him respect. His commitment on staying engaged is already impacting the division's future, whether it's Blades, Gain, or another top contender. Aspinall appears to be prepared to face anyone, and for the time being, he holds the unchallenged title with the promise to never lose it. What are your thoughts?